Back to another episode of the Mortgage Marketing Podcast. And in this episode, we are joined by Dan Reddish from the New Age Advisor Program. Dan is a friend of mine and also marketing expert and the founder of that program. And they've had some amazing results. And in this episode, we're going to be talking all about the value of funnels, because Dan is really, he's the funnel guy. Like when anyone asks me who's good at funnels, it's not the only person I know. So, and it puts me to shame a little bit. I always think, how does he know that stuff? So that is what we're going to be covering in this episode after the intro.
You're listening to the Mortgage Marketing Podcast with Ash Borland, the show that helps mortgage brokers create impact and income by mastering content marketing. Let's dive straight into it.
Hello, Dan. Welcome to the show.
Hello, mate. So it's not that I'm good at funnels, it's just I'm the only person you know who does them. So
well, you're good at it.
Take that, Ashley.
Well, do you know what, Dan? You're going to put this into some ways. It's that thing of like, you only have to be as like 5 steps ahead of the person you're selling it to. And I don't know how you do what you do. I've been in so many New Age Advisor things with you where you've started talking about funnels and it's like you're speaking a second language. And it annoys...
You don't know what you don't know, do you? It's the same as...
Well, it doesn't annoy me, but it annoys me that I don't know. I'm like, oh... Okay. And I also know the power of funnels, as in I've got friends who do super well with them. And we all seen business owners and people we know, both as in like influencers we see. So you're the only person I know that knows how to do any of that stuff. So are you the only person I can bring on the podcast, mate? You know,
I'll take that the wrong way, but I won't. Since
take it in the good way. It's a positive way. Yeah. So what is a funnel for my listeners who are listening to this and going, what are these guys talking about? What is a funnel?
Yeah, so it's a system which it's basically like a little website. It's like an interlinking system of web pages, but obviously with a website you've got different menus, different options, different things to click into. With a funnel, there's just one way through it, and there's just one objective of a funnel. Obviously, like I say, a website's like a brochure really of everything that you do. But a funnel is just purely set up for one objective, which the objective that we use with our guys and for me personally, because this is how I get a lot of my business, is to get appointments booked, qualified appointments with the right people. So yeah, it takes them through a set of processes to kind of weed out a lot of the crap. Because I think, go on.
No, you go ahead. No, carry on. You think what?
Yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of people, I think a lot of brokers, this is a problem with a lot of brokers at the minute. They're wasting a lot of time ringing crap quality leads that are just not ready to roll and not right for them. So yeah, this kind of takes that problem out of the equation, really. It's
absolutely a problem. I think from my experience, and you're in the same world, is. And I've spoken to different people of different levels. So I've spoken to somebody who deals predominantly with large firms, 50, 60 advisors. They don't want funnels. They want volume of leads, and they have people, but they have a funnel in their own way. They've got these volume of leads, the people who are calling them beforehand to pre-qualify them. Yeah. They don't want that. And what's quite funny though, and so I was having a conversation with someone about this, and they were saying, you don't really need that. But I was like, but I think when we look at like one man, so the people who listen to this, they're mostly one-man band advisors. They don't have teams of people who are pre-qualifying and doing stuff. So that's where I think funnels are worth their weight in gold, is this idea of you want to only really be speaking to or have minimal contact with people who are not relevant. You only want to speak to people who are, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, and the beauty of this kind of system is that it's all automated. It's just doing all that pre-qualification for you. But it's not just kind of, obviously, yeah, part of that is the pre-qualification where we're making the leads fill out, and it's like flipping the script and making them apply for a call with you. So you're asking them questions, you're asking them things like if they've got a deposit, what the credit rating's like, if they're ready to move straight away or in 6 months or in a year, or if they're just gathering information. So we're kind of putting the focus on them and the spotlight on them and making them work for us, because the more kind of hoops we can make them jump through, then the better quality the lead is. Because that's, I think, again, what the problem with a lot of leads that people buy in, the quality is shit because they're just not really, there's no intent there. It's took them 2 seconds just to fill out a little form online from a lot of these lead providers. And yeah, there's no real intent there because it's just took them two seconds to fill it in. So you've not made them jump for any hoops. So the quality is not great on a lot of those.
Do people have any idea of so do you think that the clients would have an issue like with form fatigue? So like filling out a form, getting, not actually filling it out, finding that it's boring or they don't want to get through. Do you see that as a problem with a funnel, or is it a good thing? Does it weed out the wrong people? Like, what's your kind of take on that?
There's a balance, I think, to everything. And it can be a problem if you're asking too much, but the balance needs to be right, because like you say, we need to weed out all the low intent people, because if somebody's really interested and they're really engaged and they want the service, filling out a reasonably sized form is not going to be an issue for them. The people that aren't going to do that, and the intent is not going to be there anyway. So it's a positive in that sense, because it just weeds out all the low intent leads that have got no real intention of actually using the service or taking it further.
And how have you seen this applied? I mean, you do it yourself for your business. In your advisors that you work with, both in New Age and in your private practice, because I know you do some of this stuff as well for people one-to-one. What have been, obviously you don't need to give numbers or names, but what have been some of the success stories? Have you seen some really successful? I know you have, because I've seen some of the stuff you've posted. What are some of the kind of successes that are out there with funnels? Because they're quite new for FS, for financial services. They're very new. They're not new in the world of marketing, but they are new in FS. So what type of thing? Obviously, they can range depending on your niche and all that stuff. But what type of results have you been seeing?
Well, like you said, there's people getting really good results from it. It's something that I think is just changing the way, like you said, a lot of people in financial services are not a lot of people don't know this kind of stuff exists, let alone know the benefits of it and how it can, I know it sounds a bit extreme, but change your complete business, because you're not having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Like, a lot of people are going to things like networking events, spending like hours and hours doing that every week, sat in front of a room full of like 10 people where 2 of them might be their ideal client. This is just kind of putting you, because it's the core of the funnel. It's like a video presentation of you kind of giving some tips, giving some value away. So that serves as a video as a presentation, but that presentation is literally putting you in front of thousands of your ideal client every single day on autopilot, without you having to go anywhere or do anything more for it once it's set up. So obviously people are getting good quality leads from it, but the other side of it is it's kind of buying back the time, because they're not having to do all of that stuff. It's just already automated and it's set up, and it ticks a lot of boxes, that video, because it builds trust and it builds rapport. Because obviously, as you know, Ash, online now, the trust is at kind of an all-time low. It's difficult to get people's trust. So I think you need to put something there, like a long-form piece of content, for people to get familiar with you and your brand ethos and your personality even, and just hearing your voice goes a long way in building that trust. And when you're teaching them something that's of value, that shows qualification, that people think this guy's obviously qualified, or this lady in getting me to where I need to be, because they're obviously teaching something that they know a lot about, and obviously they do know a lot about it. So it builds trust, builds rapport, and it shows that you're qualified in getting your lead or your prospect to where they need to be.
So how do you get people into the funnel for my listeners? Because I know what they're going to say, is you just said like thousands of people. So do you run for your kind of advice for stuff? Is it run ads, run organic, run both? Like, what's the kind of, how does that top of funnel?
Both, really. That's the best kind of strategy to kind of employ, like a more holistic approach, because obviously, you can, obviously the fastest way to get a lot of traffic to it in one way is obviously like paid ads, Facebook ads. That's what
you're the guy. I always say in the podcast that you're the man.
I heard that one you said the other day, and I'm like, nice one, Ash.
You're like the guy for anything to do with Facebook ads. I'm like, Dan's the guy.
But like I said, I say, all this stuff that I teach in the programs is all stuff that exactly how I get my clients. And I probably get, I think it's about 40-60. I probably get 60% through ads, 40% through organic. And it's just getting traffic to that funnel. It's like on a URL. So I've got mine on my personal profile on Facebook, LinkedIn. It goes out through my email database. So it's just getting that link out there. So a lot of people see it organically, and like real stuff, for example, as you know, you're heavy on the reels. That gets a lot of traffic to your personal profile. But yeah, it's just about kind of directing people to that link, to that funnel to get.
It's just with the reason I say it is because the ads, like I was talking about this with somebody a couple of days ago, saying they were talking about ads versus reels, and they were chatting about saying that the demographic on their reels is quite off. You're not off, but like they were like, well, some of them are in target, some of them are not, some of them I can't work with. And I was like, the problem is with organic is you get what you get. You know, like it is like you can't, because someone was like, well, can we target better people with our content? I'm like, no, we're not. No, like your content can be targeted in regards to the way you approach, as we said in our last interview. Like you can in your niche, you can speak to the right person, but if you want that, and I was like, if you want that guaranteed direct person, you have to run ads to it. Like Facebook aren't going to give you the ability, or Instagram the ability to target someone without paying.
Like, it goes against their business model at the end of the day, because they make the money through paid ads, don't they? And
which is targeting, isn't it? So
yeah.
And I think it's a good idea to target the right people. How with Facebook ads, because you've worked with people with ads on that. I just want to touch on that because we just all this. How hard is it for a financial service to run Facebook ads? Because a lot of people, I hear a lot of like myths and stuff. People talk about this, and they'll say, with that, because it's top of the funnel, really, is they'll say like, and like, you know, it's because it's regulated, it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Are you seeing that, or are you think, oh, is that more just people just making excuses? I don't know, because it's not my world.
No, it's changed a lot over the recent years running Facebook ads, and yeah, it's become harder, I think, but I see that as a benefit, really, because it kind of weeds out all the people that don't know what they're doing. It makes the ads cheaper for us. Yeah. But I think, like you said in your thing, I listened to your thing the other day, your video about it. And like I say, I think it's essential that you work with someone who knows what they're talking about. Obviously, I would say that, but it's a fact. You can't. It's difficult to navigate purely on your own, or even just by looking at a few YouTube videos. I think you'll struggle. I think you need that support. Like I say, I would be saying this either way. From an expert pair of eyeballs who does it day in and knows the landscape and knows how to navigate it, because it can be difficult when you're doing it on your own.
It definitely is. That's my take, and that was on the episode, which it will be out a long time after this one's come out now. But it's like for people to understand. So my concept of ads, and it is, if you look at something like organic, if you look at something like making reels, YouTube videos not so much, but reels and Facebook postings like that, you can kind of bumble your way through and kind of get some basic results. Do you know what I mean? Like you can do that, and I know, like I've got people I speak to who are like one of the guys I used to work with, and he literally is like, I've been doing content for a year and nothing's come from it. Like, I know why, because I can look at it like the same way you'd be looking and go, it's obvious why. But you can kind of strike gold a little bit by accident with organic. With paid ads, I really am a big believer, and it's similar with like videography and stuff. If you want like high quality, if you want to do it, it's not as simple as just press a boost button. No. And I think that the problem is, and like you say with that ad, what I said in that one, is the problem is that so many people think they can do it. And it's like, no. And then they'll go, well, so-and-so is going to charge me $1,000 a month plus ad spend. And you're like, yeah, because they know what they're doing.
You're better off spending that money than just pissing it up the wall, which you probably will do on you.
Well, you will do. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're running campaigns that you don't have a clue. Like, it's an art, and it's the other thing as well. I know you do it, and I was talking about this with somebody who knows you, and we were just chatting about saying like they're Google ads to Facebook ads to YouTube ads to LinkedIn ads. They are very, very different, and the amount of people are like, I'm a social media ad guy, and you're like, no. And I remember you saying before, you're like, I'm trying YouTube, but it's tough.
Yeah,
I'm trying this, but they are not the same. You need to know that, like, if you want to run Facebook ads, which is the one where your clients are really, guys, then you need to know where to go to go to the right person who runs it.
And that's why the funnel comes in as well, because as I say, a lot of people will just run Facebook ads for financial services or for mortgages, and they'll wonder why it's not worked. They'll say, oh, Facebook ads is crap, it doesn't work. But nobody's going to trust just a random ad on Facebook with a massive financial commitment like a mortgage without something in place, a system to warm them up and, like I say, build that trust and that rapport before you ask for the call. So obviously, a lot of these ads that brokers are running, they just put in, give us a ring for a free consultation or a free strategy call or whatever.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to just trust it, like I say, around. Obviously, brokers don't know this because they don't know any different. They're not marketers. They're good at advising, but yeah, that's why they don't work, because you need to put something in place, which is what that funnel does. Because the ads, when they're out the way our strategy is, we're not promoting your service in the ads, which is good for compliance. We're just promoting this free training to get people, to filter people into that funnel. And then obviously on the funnel, you say, do you want to arrange a free strategy call with an expert after they've been pre-qualified, after they've been warmed up and pre-sold.
Love it, mate. So good. So if you want to connect with you want to learn more about working with you on the New Age Advisor and stuff like that, where's the best place they can go?
Well, the good place to be is my funnel,
yeah,
which is on danreddishconsultant.uk. That'll give people an idea of how they work, funnels.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's just on danreddishconsultant.uk, or social media, just Dan Reddish on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram.
Definitely. We'll make sure we link that as well, because you are like the funnel king. You do really well with that, and you do ads and everything all coming in. It's one of those things that, like I said, I don't do, and it's really good to have an expert on to talk about it. So, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show.
No, you're very welcome, mate.
Cheers.
You've been listening to the Mortgage Marketing Podcast with Ash Borland. If you've enjoyed the show, then be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend right now.